Good morning, COPA JHB, and all of the podcast listeners out there that have just found us on YouTube. Thank you very much for tuning in. This is COPA Radio, and I am Ian Gertenbach, here to provide you with my weekly segments known as The Week in Music. This is taking us from 8th of February to the 14th of February, Monday through Sunday. Let's have a look at what has happened in history. In 1981, on Monday the 8th of February, the band REM made their first ever recording sessions at Bombay Studios in Smyrna, Georgia. Tracks included Gardening at Night, Radio Free Europe, and Don't Go Back to Rockville. Now, this was obviously before their much more well-known period of Automatic for the People, and even the album before that, which yielded Losing My Religion, obviously their big hits, and as well as Everybody Hurts and songs of that nature. But this was back in their more what they were known as college radio rock days. And for those living in the modern times like us, sound-wise, it would sound a little bit more like contemporary kind of British indie rock as well, like kind of precursor to Arctic Monkeys. And in fact, a lot of contemporary indie bands see REM's early years of radio college rock as an influence. On Tuesday, the 9th of February in 1961, the Beatles made their very first appearance at the Cavern Club in Liverpool as the Beatles, before they were known as the Silver Beatles. They would go on to make a total of 292 other appearances at this very venue. They were paid only £5 for this lunchtime appearance, and George Harrison was nearly denied admission to play because he was wearing jeans and not the snazzy slacks that they were supposed to be wearing, I'm guessing. Anyways, on Wednesday, the 10th of February in 2005, the artist known as Prince, the artist formerly known as Prince, whatever you know him as, Prince topped Rolling Stones magazine's annual list of the year's biggest money earners after his 2004 tour grossed over $90 million or £53 million. Quite a significant amount indeed. Madonna came in second place after earning $54.9 million or £34.3 million, and Metallica came third with $43 million or £25.3 million, which in my personal opinion, as those of you who are regular listeners to this segment know that I'm a fan of things rock and metal oriented, I think it's quite impressive that Metallica managed to be in the top three of earners in 2004. On Thursday, on the 11th of February in 2012, the legendary Whitney Houston was found dead in Suite 434 at the Beverly Hilton Hotel, submerged in the bathtub. Beverly Hills paramedics arrived at approximately 3:30 p.m. and found the singer unresponsive and performed CPR. Houston was pronounced dead at 3:55 p.m. Local police said that there were no obvious signs of criminal intent, and it was later ruled by the coroner to have been an accidental drowning. Whitney Houston, what a legend, and she died on that day. On Friday, the 12th of February in 2009, a full frontal nude photo of Madonna, mentioned earlier, taken in 1979 before she became famous, sold at auction for $37,000 and $500 extra on top of that. The black and white picture was taken at a time when Madonna Louise Veronica Chacon, I'm guessing, was a 20-year-old dancer just trying to make ends meet in New York. So just, although maybe in later days, if you're super famous and you don't mind people making a bit of money at your nude expense, especially if you're a bit of an exhibitionist, as Madonna is well known. But I just want to post a little bit of a warning to all of the female performers out there. Don't ever compromise your values just for the sake of making ends meet, like to that level. You know, no prostitution, no drug dealing, no stripping unless you're super comfortable with your body and that's who you are, and then in that case, fly your freaky flag. Anyways, on Saturday, the 13th of February in 1961, now I found this very interesting, Frank Sinatra launched his own record label, Reprise Records, in order to allow more artistic freedom for his own recordings instead of being under the yoke, the oppressive, tyrannical yoke of record labels as we all know them to be. Because of this, he actually garnered the nickname the Chairman of the Board, amongst his many other ridiculous nicknames like Old Blue Eyes. One of the label's founding principles under Sinatra's leadership was that each artist would have full creative freedom and at some point complete ownership of their work. Reprise later became the home of many influential US acts such as Neil Young, Jimi Hendrix, Joni Mitchell, Randy Newman, and even the Beach Boys. Now, the reason I find this very interesting is that because of the digital boom that we've been experiencing in the past few years, a lot of artists, and especially independent artists trying to claw their way up, are all basically either creating their own record labels in a very micro kind of sense in order just to get their own music out there, because it is in fact possible to do that, or fairly well-established artists themselves are starting their own record labels because they have tired of the way that record labels in general have treated artists in the past, and they desire more creative freedom. And for those who know about this and think that, okay, cool, it's a pretty contemporary, evolutionary kind of reaction to this whole way of the world that we live in the music industry, not to worry, Frank Sinatra actually did it first in 1961. So unfortunately for you, he was the pioneer, and rightly so. Now, finally, on Sunday, the 14th of February in 2010, Everybody Hurts, the song by R.E.M., was recorded to help Haiti's earthquake victims, and it went to #1 on the UK singles chart. The cover featured Leon Lewis, Kylie Minogue, Robbie Williams, and Take That. If you don't know who Take That are, then you are not obviously aware of the fact that George Michael was actually a member of Take That, so shame on you if you don't. That album, that single sold over 53,000 copies in its first week, so another nice little example of music helping out the world at large. Just to wrap it up, all of the facts from this segments I found them, in fact, at the website thisdayinmusic.com. This segment wouldn't be possible if it weren't for that information. But otherwise, thank you very much for listening to this podcast. My name is Ian Gertenbach, and we will see you next time.